What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Love in Paradise, Season 4, Episode 2, We're Expecting Turbulence. I realize I never really explained the concept of 90 Day Fiance Love in Paradise. For those who might not know, this is another franchise of 90 Day Fiance. What makes it distinct is that this is the American who wants to go live with the person who is not American, and that person lives on an island. Okay, specifically on an island, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so let's get started with our newest couple, Alex and Adriano. So Alex is 30 years old. She's from Dallas. She works as a family therapist. She loves her job. She loves her family. And she met Adriano when she was traveling to Italy by herself. And they met on an app, on a dating app in Italy, like an Italian dating app. That's what I could gather. And they ended up meeting the day before she had to return back to America. They've been together for a year now, but they've only been physically together a total of 10 days. The issue in their relationship, though, is that Adriano really wants to have a third party in their relationship. Not necessarily like a part of the relationship. He wants to have threesomes now and then. Okay, he wants to have threesomes occasionally when the mood strikes him. And he wants Alex to be open to that, which she is not. So we see her with her family making dinner, and she's telling her family that this is a big problem for them because Adriano is really insisting on this happening, and she's just not down with it. Now, she has been with women before in the past during her college years, so she's experienced all of that, been there, done that. Now she's realized that she'd much rather be with a man exclusively in a monogamous relationship. So she doesn't really know what to do. Now, her plan is to go to Italy to visit Adriano and also get a chance to talk to him about this whole threesome thing and hopefully convince him that that's just not going to work in their relationship and still be able to keep him. We meet Adriano. He is 33 years old. He lives in Italy, and he lives in Napoli. So I'm assuming Napoli must be like an island off the coast of Italy, or maybe it's a city in Italy. I'm not sure, but he lives in Napoli, Italy. And when we meet him, he's a nice looking guy. Okay, he looks like he could be on the cover of GQ or something. He really is good looking. He talks about how he met Alex, how they fell in love. They met, and he didn't realize that the relationship was going to progress the way that it did. It kind of blindsided him. He thought, I guess, that it was going to be probably just like a quick hookup, but it ended up being a whole lot more than that. His feelings got involved, and like now he's in love with Alex, and he's really serious about her. He considers her to be very beautiful, intelligent, funny. So she checks all the boxes for him except for one thing. She's not into threesomes. Now, he also tells us that Alex is the very first black woman that he's ever dated. I don't know if that really matters, but he did mention that. Adriano is with his friend at the barbershop, and they're talking about Alex. And he tells his friend that Alex is not interested in having threesomes. Now, he does say that in the beginning of their relationship, she was interested. She was open to it. They never did it, but she was open to it. But as the relationship progressed, and I guess as feelings grew for one another, she ended up changing her mind and decided that she did not want to go that route. So the friend tells him, instead of stressing yourself out with a woman who doesn't want to do what you want to do, why don't you just get with a woman that's already down with having threesomes, here and there, occasionally, however often you want to. So he tells his friend, you don't understand. I love this girl. I want to be with this girl for the rest of my life. I want to have children with her. I want to grow old with her. I want us to enjoy life together, but I also want to have threesomes with her. And I need her to be down with that. I need her to be okay with that. So, she hasn't left for Italy yet. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. It seems like this is, I don't know. I don't know if it's become an issue in their relationship, then it's probably going to remain an issue. So someone's going to have to give, or this relationship is not going to work out. And I don't see him giving it up for two reasons. She has been with women in the past, so she's not like a woman who has never experienced that and does not want to experience that and is turned off by that, because at some point in her life she was with women. And number two, initially she says she was open to it, and then all of a sudden she changed her mind. So I guess to him, he sees like a tiny sliver of hope that she's going to be down with it again. I don't know. We shall see. Moving on, but they are a beautiful couple. She is gorgeous. He's good looking. They are a very good looking couple. Moving on to Annie and Kyle. So Kyle is the one that is the sperm donor. Okay, he donates his sperm for a hobby, and he met Annie through a sperm donor type of situation, but their relationship grew beyond that. They didn't have a child together. It never got that far, but they ended up really getting along with one another, and now they're in a relationship. So he's already arrived in Malta, and he tells us that Annie is his first girlfriend. And I'm like, why? What have you been doing all your whole life? Just, playing around, or you've been, well, like, what's been going on? Why is she your first girlfriend at this point in your life? And he's like in his 30s, I think. He says that he really wants this relationship to work out with Annie. So they're having their first date, which is going to be a romantic dinner outside. He shows up. Now, she's dressed really nice. Your boy Kyle shows up in the same clothes that he wore when he arrived at the airport that day, which tells me that from London to Italy, which I know it's not that far, but like, you couldn't shower and change for dinner at all. Even if you wanted to put on something really casual, shorts and a t-shirt, don't you have another pair of shorts and another t-shirt that you could have put on after showering? Like, he put no effort into this at all. So when he shows up, Annie has a real problem with his attire, and she's like, wait a minute, I think he's wearing the same thing he was wearing when I picked him up at the damn airport. So he didn't even bother to change his clothes, didn't bother to freshen up. And at dinner, she had a glass of wine. And so he told her, because, he has his own points system where she gains certain privileges by accumulating a certain number of points. Like, a certain number of points will grant her a kiss from him. A certain number of points will grant her a tongue kiss, etc., etc., etc. So depending on her actions and her habits, the things that she says, he deducts or adds points. So because she was drinking a glass of wine, he deducted points because he doesn't want his woman to drink alcohol. So he took away points for that. And she's like, you know what? Your point system, you can shove him where the sun don't shine, basically, because she's not playing that game. So she also had a problem with how he ate. He ate like a damn slob. He was like, slurping his noodles. He was taking the plate and whatever. I can't even, I'm so like discombobulated by how sloppy he was eating. He was shoving food in his mouth. He was slurping food directly from the plate. He was eating off of her plate. He was eating her food. Like, half of her food was gone because he was eating it. And she was really disgusted by his eating habits. And so that's the point system, it's the attire, it's the lack of etiquette. And his excuse was, well, in America, we don't have etiquette. That's what he said. Americans don't care about etiquette, which is absolutely false. Okay, that's absolutely false. Some Americans do, some don't, but you can't just generalize all Americans as not caring about etiquette. That was a false statement. So she tells us that she had really high expectations for him, and he met none of them. But something about him intrigues her. And she doesn't really understand what it is about him, but she's not ready to break things off with him yet. She finds him very mysterious, very interesting. So she's going to stick around for this very bumpy ride. Good luck to all of that. But she was extremely turned off by his eating habits and the fact that he showed up to dinner in the same clothes that he wore when he was at the damn airport. Moving on to what is it? Shawn and, I'm going to say, Aaliyah, okay, even though Shawn refers to her as Douglas because that's how he has known her throughout their relationship before Douglas transitioned into Aaliyah. I'm going to refer to her as Aaliyah because that's how Aaliyah refers to herself. So Aaliyah wants Shawn to accept her as Aaliyah and to basically forget about Douglas because this is who she is now. And Aaliyah tells us that if Shawn cannot accept her as Aaliyah, there is no relationship between her and Shawn. So Shawn arrives at the airport and he tells us that out of all the trips that they've taken together, out of all the times that they've met up at the airport, this is the first time that he has seen Douglas as Aaliyah. And so he is still trying to get used to that because he fell in love with Douglas. He fell in love with a boy named Douglas who liked to dabble a little bit in makeup and nails. He did not fall in love with a woman named Aaliyah. So he is really trying to come to grasp with all of this because he doesn't want to be with a woman. He's been there, done that. He was married to a woman for 14 years. He wants to be with a man. He wants to be with a beautiful man named Douglas. So Shawn wants to support Aaliyah in her journey. And so he brought like a whole bunch of wigs and weaves for her. I mean, a lot. Now, Shawn is also a hairdresser himself because he's worked with a lot of celebrities and stuff. So he's a hairstylist himself. And I'm thinking, how cool is that to have a boyfriend who's a hairstylist? You can get your hair done for free. So Shawn wants to support Aaliyah, but he's not really sure about the future of their relationship because they are on completely two different pages where, you know, he wants to continue in a, you know, man with man homosexual relationship, and Aaliyah wants to continue with man with woman heterosexual relationship. So they all go out to dinner. They talk about how strange it is for Shawn to refer to Douglas as Aaliyah. And he gives this example of how he knew someone growing up. This girl went by the name of Gladys. And when she became an adult, she hated her name Gladys. So she had it changed to Gigi. And so he told Gigi, I don't see myself, you know, calling you Gigi because it's so weird. I've always known you as Gladys. And he was trying to compare that to what he's experiencing with Aaliyah, which to me, it was like apples and oranges because it wasn't really just, it's not Aaliyah just changing her name. It's Aaliyah changing her whole entire identity. So I really didn't understand how that story compared. Unless he was trying to say, it was hard for me to get used to calling her Gigi because it's hard for me to get used to calling you Douglas. Therefore, it's hard for me to accept you as Aaliyah. I guess that's what he was trying to say. I don't know. But, excuse me, it was just a very strange comparison to me because, you know, Gladys was still the same person, just going under a different name, whereas Douglas is transitioning into a whole new identity, a whole new gender. So I was really confused about that. Aaliyah thought that by Shawn bringing the wigs and all the hair, it was a sign of him accepting her as Aaliyah. But when he told this story of Gladys / Gigi, when he told that story, it let Aaliyah know, okay, so he's still struggling with accepting me as Aaliyah. Aaliyah then brings up surgery and tells Shawn that in the near future she wants to have surgery done. She wants to have the fat sucked out of her abdomen. She said that as a child or growing up as a young boy, he was overweight, and when they became an adult, Aaliyah lost all that weight, but I guess had some loose skin around the belly area that Aaliyah claims she cannot get rid of through working out. So she wants to take the fat out of her belly and inject it into her butt because she wants to have a rounder butt and wider hips. And I wanted to like call BS on a part of the story. Of course, this is her story, her journey. So, you know, we have to accept it as this is what it is. But I was kind of doubting that they wanted to get the fat sucked out because of loose skin. Aaliyah is very young. To me, she looks completely toned from head to toe. I just found it hard to imagine that she has all this loose skin. Enough, not loose skin, but enough flab on her belly to create an entire butt. Okay, if she does have any kind of excess fat or flab, it's not going to make an entire butt. Okay. So she's pretty toned everywhere. So I was like, just say that you just want a bigger butt. Just say that. Don't give us, don't do a Lauren on us and give us all this rigmarole about, for medical reasons, I need to have a Brazilian butt lift for medical reasons. No, stop it. Just say, I want to look a certain way. I would feel happier if my body looked a certain way. So I want plastic surgery to make it look like that. Don't, feed us this crap about you medically need this done. Like, stop it with all that. So they want to have a Brazilian butt lift. Okay. They want to have a big old butt. They want to inject a lot of fat into their butt so they can have wide hips, so they can have more of a female figure. And, Shawn obviously knew this, it's like, yeah, so you want hips so you can look more like a female. And Aaliyah was like, yes, that's what I want. I wonder if Aaliyah is expecting Shawn to pay for this. That's what I really want to know. Did she bring this up because she wants Shawn to pay for this, or what's really going on? And she told Shawn, I can do whatever the hell I want to do with my body. Like I said, Shawn is struggling with this. He doesn't want to be with a woman. He wants to be with a man. But then again, it's also like, just because Douglas is now Aaliyah, does it change the essence of who Douglas really is? If you fell in love with the person, what does it matter what the shell looks like? That's another question. So what if, Aaliyah, is more feminine and is, more looks like a woman or whatever? Their soul, their spirit, their ideas, their thought process is still the same. So, but I understand. I get it. He doesn't want to be with a woman. He doesn't want to be with a trans woman. He doesn't want to be with a biological woman. He wants to be with a man, a masculine looking man. Moving on to Luke and Madeline. So Luke is our guy who is, he's the sugar daddy, and he's engaged to Madeline, who was his sugar baby. These are the labels that I'm putting on them. They're not calling themselves this. They think that they are feeding us a real, genuine relationship where they're actually in love, but I don't believe it. So Luke had a really good job at some point, was making a whole bunch of money, and was taking care of Madeline, who lives in, is it Brazil or Colombia? I think she lives in Colombia. So he's basically, taking care of her. She doesn't have to work. He pays for her apartment, her clothes, her groceries, her everything, her makeup, her nails, everything. He pays for it all. But he had lost his job because he was taking too much time off flying to Colombia to spend time with Madeline. So he lost his job and now he's broke. He had some investments going on that did not pan out, and now he is living in his mother's basement. Now Madeline has no idea that, she went from sugar daddy to a broken busted. So he's going to be going to Colombia, and while he's there, he's going to break the news to her that he has no money. And she thinks he's coming to Colombia to start their new life together, because the plan was for him to move to Colombia and to live there with her indefinitely. But he tells us that he is unable to do that. He will not be moving there to live there because he can't afford it. He's got to get his finances back up and running before he can even consider living in another country and taking care of a woman. So Madeline has no idea that any of this is going on because he hasn't told her anything yet. So he shows up in Colombia. They meet at the airport. She's really happy and excited to see her. And I'm just looking at her like, girl, you have no idea what you are in for. You have no clue that you are hugging and kissing up on a unemployed man who is living in his mother's basement. She still thinks that she's with this very wealthy Americano who's going to continue to take care of her and, fund her lifestyle the way that he's always been doing. She has no idea that she has to come up with plan B and come up with plan B very, very quickly. Either try to make it on her own or struggle with him or something. But the way things have been going, the way that you've been living, all of that, sweetheart, is coming to a screeching halt. And that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.